It's one thing to track, but it's another thing to execute. At the gym, obviously not on the road, got a little dumpster stuff I gotta do today. But I had a video request a while ago that was about, hey, I'm starting out and what would you do if you were starting from scratch? So it's gonna be a business 101 type talk. Stay tuned. The goal is to have you knowing exactly what to do in terms of how to set things up business savvy wise, financial wise, before you hit the road, and then how to implement it after you're on the road before my pre-workout kicks in and things get a little crazy around here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this whiteboard. I'm gonna attempt some type of a overview, whatever setup, and we'll see how it goes. So also stick around until the end and we're gonna talk about a profit first challenge. Okay, so we're gonna break it up. So before and then on the road. So here, I'll put a little asterisk. If you want, you could create an LLC. It's not needed, it's especially not needed if you are going to be a one-man show. But that's a whole nother conversation. You can do that if you want. You can pay somebody to do it. I've created LLCs for my gym, my nutritional coaching program, and the dumpster rental business all on my own. Super easy, but another conversation. What you're going to do then is you're going to have bank accounts that you're going to open. So this all depends on how financially disciplined you are. If needed, you could use your personal account as your general account. But the first one you're going to create is just a general checking account. It won't be a business account unless you have created an LLC and you then went and got your EIN number, which is essentially your social security number for your business. Again, not needed, you could do it. I'd recommend that if you're going the multiple drivers under you route, but again, another conversation for another day. So your general account, we'll put a C for checking, a maintenance account, have it be a savings account. And then you're going to have your com data, or I think it's your EFS card. That's essentially going to be your fuel account. All of your fuel purchases, even if you wanted it to be all of your fuel additive purchases, are all gonna come out of here. Let me erase that. That works real well. Okay, so really basic. Again, you have, really, this is the structure, the hierarchy of it. I'm just gonna say com data. Again, you may have a different card depending on what company you're leased on for. But the company pays you all of your final settlements come onto your com data card. It's to be noted, leave enough money for your next trip to be on here. I typically, now that I've been in it for a while, I leave about $1,000 to $2,000 on here. You just wanna make sure that you have enough money on there for your next trip in case you book a load, but you don't get your advance until it's too late and you already need to fuel up. So from here, after you leave, however much you determine you need on there, and you'll just play with that number to where it's your comfort level, but then you will transfer to your general account. Again, this is just either your personal checking account, or if you're not disciplined enough, you need another account. And then you can put money over there. You're going to transfer everything over except for what you need fuel-wise for your next trip. And then that just kind of always is sitting on your com data card. From there, what you're going to do, may sound like a lot, it's really not. You're going to transfer whatever percentage of the payout that you set aside for maintenance issues. Check the description, so that little triangle on the right or the left hand side, and you'll see a link for the trip analyzer spreadsheet that I have. And so it'll calculate your maintenance payment for every trip after you enter it in. And then this just sits there. You don't use this until you have maintenance things come up. If you want to use it for your oil changes, all those random little things, go for it. You can. It's money setting aside. Again, I do 15% of the final settlement. Cheers. And that's it in a nutshell. So I typically mess around with transferring money from the accounts twice a week. So you're on the road. 1, you book. 2, you get your advancement. 3, you transfer money to your general account. Hop in the old truck, whatever you got. Get the old camper, it's a little bumper pull, and you're going. You deliver. You then get an email and it has your final settlement. You then transfer money, and the other step is you transfer your maintenance money. You do that right away. See, the issue is if you put it off, that money starts to feel like it's yours. You know, you could think of it as it's the truck's money. And the longer you see it sitting, especially in your personal account, you, the missus, whatever, may kind of feel like, well, we could use it for this. I mean, surely nothing's gonna happen to the truck this week, will it? This is the benefits of reading a book or listening to a book like Profit First. I listened to that 2 or 3 times before I actually started implementing anything. And it was a breath of fresh air in the sense of just having more relief, more control and understanding of, you know, the pulse of my financial situation when it came to the gym as I was growing and as revenue was starting to pick up. Because one thing with that we don't have to worry about, you know, sales tax, all the different items that would come up, you know, just a lot more moving parts where you may see an extra, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 in the old bank account, in the general account, but you may not be thinking how that actually is Big Brother's money and you have to pay that at the end of the quarter. So as crazy as it could sound or maybe seem excessive, what it does is it just helps give you more clarity by segmenting apart the funds, actually putting them into accounts to be used for what they're used for. So let's say like when I just had did a video, a vlog, and I put all new drive tires on. So I paid for it out of my general account or my personal account. If you need, before you make that transaction, you just go into your online banking, you transfer over the amount, boom, it's right there. So then the money isn't actually coming out of your personal funds. You transferred it over, you then paid with your debit card. It was like it never happened in terms of your personal finances. Nothing was affected. So now what I'll do is I will rotate you around and we will log into, that's not the view you want, there we go. I'll get it. We'll log into the spreadsheet and I'll just run over that again so that you have clarity as far as when you're on the road. And we'll talk about how do you keep track of all of your expenses when you're on the road. So we get on here and I'm gonna go over to the haul and tow tab. So I just have my single poles, haul and tows, maintenance, expenses, all kinds of other things. So I enter it in, my mileage that I go, whether, you know, first backhaul, my outbound, then my last backhaul, start date, end date. We've went over this before in a video, just going over this spreadsheet. Again, links in the description. So I'll track everything. What was the actual final settlement pay, and if I had one there, it'll total it for me right here. So from there, it's gonna tell me what I need to deposit into my maintenance account. And then I just use this simple little checker box right here and I'll check it once I transfer that over. Then it just tells me, well, I go in, so I look at my comm data card and see how much I spent on fuel from the date ranges of start to finish on the trip. Enter that in, tells me what my actual take home was, and then how profitable was that trip. This number is only factoring in your maintenance and your fuel in terms of profitability, in terms of your margin, because you may not have a truck payment, and then the only other expense you would have would be your actual unladen insurance as well, outside of a truck payment if you have one. So I do this on a trip-by-trip basis. Be on the lookout for a video where I'm gonna dive into all of my numbers. So we'll look at this, which you're familiar with, but then we'll look at my actual monthly expenses. And so instead of looking at a trip profit margin, we'll look at, you know, how profitable is RV transport on a monthly basis, factoring in truck payment, insurance, random maintenance things, everything. And then when it comes to being on the road with your expenses, so I use an app. I'll post that up right here. And it's just an expense tracking app. You can it's free. You can create little folders for whatever, you know, you're tracking, but I'll have it broken up into, I'll post a screenshot on here. Truck maintenance, I believe, off the top of my head. Additives, so fuel additives. I just want to know how much I'm spending on that alone. And then repairs. So if I have any major repairs, and it tracks that all within the trucking folder that I created. So I also use that app for my rentals, which I'm selling my rentals because now is the time to sell, and I'm gonna make way more money than I should ever make on those rentals. and the dumpster business side of things. And that is it. So I am out of pre-workout. I am going to hit the weights. I still need to go drop off a dumpster for a 7-day rental that's coming up. And hopefully this video was a good insight on just really simple, practical steps that you can take before you start, or even if you've already started, you know, refining how you do things and how you operate, just to ensure that you're treating it like a business and you're not just out on the road spending money here, there, this and that, and just not keeping track of everything. I believe I just saw a Facebook post of somebody who's getting out of it because they had a truck issue and they don't have enough money to fix it. I wanted to ask a question. It was in a forum or a thread on Facebook of, you know, hey, how much do you have saved up in your maintenance account? So, you know, when those big issues come up, you having a little bit of discipline. I mean, this is really simple, basic things. Then you can be ready for when the issues come up, and you can still have money in your personal account, and you're not stealing from Peter giving to Paul, or whatever that saying is, in terms of you didn't have enough money in your maintenance account because you weren't disciplined. Because it's one thing to track, but it's another thing to execute. There's been a few times where I get a few weeks behind, and so then when you transfer over, you know, $1,500 into your maintenance account, you just kind of grit your teeth a little bit, and you're like, oh man, really? Do I got to see that go? But it's just about being disciplined. And when you do it in little steps, it's just easy, and then it pays dividends down the road when you've done it for so many weeks and months. So that is it. If you're still sticking around, I mentioned this in the beginning. Are you interested? Comment below. Are you interested in we'll call it the profitable trucker, the profitable transporter? I'll think of a cool name. Something challenge, where we'll dive in all of the financial side of things. We'll track what you're doing before the challenge starts, and then we'll look at making some tweaks. And then we'll be able to see, you know, hey, did I become more profitable? Am I making more money because I was in this 7-day challenge? If that's something you're interested in, comment below. We'll say profit first challenge. Comment below. All right, guys, that's it. Until the next video.